Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to share this. I know I did this video, I think it was about 3 years ago, but I didn't have Zoom then, so I couldn't actually share the article with you on screen, as it were. That has now obviously since changed. It was an interesting comment to one of the videos that said that, a Steve supporter that said, I don't think that Steve's innocent, Steve's guilty. I can tell by the look in his eye, which of course is one of the things that that's fair enough. You think the blue eyes, they don't seem to have evil in them, but we actually had a Manitrop politician say the complete opposite and say that he thought he could tell that Stephen Avery was guilty just by the look in his eyes. So, we've been looking at the John Ferak novel. It's over there. But, this isn't from the Wrecking Crew book. This is actually John Ferak whilst he was a reporter up there in Manitrop. And I think this was quite soon after Making a Murderer was first aired. Okay, what am I all about? Let's share it and then we can crack on. So here we go. This is a politician, Manitrop politician called Jim Bray. This is John Ferak, writing for the USA Today network in Manitrop. Manitrop County was flooded with negative emails across the world after the release of Making a Murderer in mid-December. But there was a spirited minority who came to the defense of the embattled sheriff's department. Quote, "I will never forget the look in Stephen Avery's eyes when he was being brought into the courthouse." Manitrop County Board Chairman Jim Bray wrote in an email to sheriff's detectives. Now, bizarrely, he admits that I know a person cannot be convicted based on that, which, makes it sound as if it's unfortunate that, Jim Bray's opinion of the look in Stephen's eyes was not something that could be based on. But don't worry, Jim Bray, he got convicted based on a lot of other bogus evidence, not just your opinion about his eye. But I made up my mind that day Avery was guilty. So sod all the bogus evidence, sod the fact that the Manitrop County Sheriff's Department, with their huge conflict of interest, took 7 searches to find a key. It's just rubbish. Anyway, City of Manitrop Police Chief Nick Reamer also sent an email to Sheriff's Lieutenant Andrew Colburn proclaiming his disgust with the Netflix series. Colburn, a now retired sheriff's detective, Jim Lenk, came under fire in the Netflix series. The show revisited the possibility that Lenk and Colburn ensured Avery's arrest and conviction in the death of Teresa Holbach by fabricating evidence in the disappearance of Teresa, a freelance photographer who was a regular visitor for over a year, or about a year, to the Avery salvage yard. And yes, one of the items I think that she went and photographed was indeed a blazer, a Ford Blazer. I think somebody was asking me about that. I'm sure that Steve at one time did sell. And as again, another little aside, some people get confused because sometimes the Lisa Butcher, Booker, the bus driver, claimed to have seen Teresa taking photographs one day. And you think, well, the turnaround for the bus is right at the end of the first bit of road. You've got the turn right, and you've got another few hundred yards to get all the way down to Stephen and Barb's former residence. But of course, sometimes the cars were outside Steve's house or Barb's house in the case of the van. Sometimes they were at the little turnaround where the bus actually stops. And also, incidentally, that's where the mailbox is. So just so that you get a better picture of the whole setup there. Okay. Anyway, she was a regular visitor to the salvage yard, not just the yard, the turnaround, but also to residences. She knew where she was going. But obviously, the bus driver did not see Teresa Holbach the day she disappeared, because Teresa was not taking photographs at the turnaround. She was obviously outside Barb's house. It seems almost certainly that it would have been a previous visit that the bus driver remembers seeing Teresa taking photographs. Lenk and Colburn both denied planting evidence during their trial testimony. The jury from Manitowoc County found Steve guilty of murdering Teresa, and he received a life sentence. And of course, Brendan was also found guilty of homicide in Teresa's death. The emails from Bray and Rima were recently turned over to the USA Today Network, Wisconsin, to comply with a public records request. USA Today Network, Wisconsin, sought access to written or electronic correspondence involving several current law enforcement officials at the Manitowoc County's Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office has received hundreds of emails and voicemail messages from people all over the world. The vast majority were harshly critical and suggested the department consists of crooked cops. In his email to Colburn, Rima wrote, "I know you to be a great person and crime fighter. I find it not only difficult as a law enforcement officer, but also as a citizen to hear what is being said about the second Avery case. It's hard not to lose faith in the world, knowing that a Netflix movie, it's not a movie, it's a documentary, can make people believe guilty people are innocent, and then those people feel moved enough to contact law enforcement and say terrible things." Yeah, there's Nick Rima. I did send him a message. I did write to him early on. I said, look, given the situation in Manitowoc, with clearly Stephen Avery having been trained by the Sheriff's Department, seeing as you're the head of the police department, could you go and arrest Lenk and Colburn? Because, of course, the Sheriff's Office is actually within the city of Manitowoc. And he actually wrote back and said that he doesn't have jurisdiction there. But he put something at the end of it, take care or something, and I thought, aye, right. Okay. Rima also Colburn to hang in there. Right, okay. For every misguided hater, there are many, many, many more supporters and intelligent people that don't fall for this profit-making movie, Rima wrote. During an email exchange with Manitowoc County Sheriff's Lieutenant Dave Remiker, Bray stated, "I know what is going on and I feel the pain too." Bray has served on the county board since 1996. He has also been on Manitowoc's Common Council since 1992. "I will continue to defend all of you that were involved in the successful prosecution of a ruthless killer," Bray wrote. Remiker, "Keep the faith, my friend. The vast majority still believes in you." A retired Wisconsin State Patrol trooper from Manitowoc County emailed Manitowoc County Sheriff Rob Herman, thanking the Sheriff's Office for securing Avery's murder conviction. "My thoughts and prayers are with you, your agency, and all law enforcement agencies involved in the investigation of the Holbach murder." wrote Lawrence Brzezinski, now a supervisory special agent for the National Insurance Crime Bureau. Nothing is stranger than truth, Brzezinski continued. And the truth is that with Avery's history, there was case oversight, and it is inconceivable to me that there is anyone with a badge in our county and Calumet County that would conspire to frame Avery or any other citizen. Just the fact that it was going to cause huge embarrassment to the sheriff's department to have their former sheriff bankrupt by Stephen Avery. Who knows what could have happened to Dennis Vogel. And also, you know, the county itself, we're going to have to pay out a lot of money. You know, even if we're talking 3 to 5 million, you know, that's a lot of like nurses, teachers, amenities, that kind of stuff, you know, keeping normal people working. No, they realized they'd screwed up and convict Steve. It's the safest way of getting rid of the lawsuit. In the wake of the sea of criticism, Manti County sheriff's officials have monitored the internet and social media in search of public comments or news media articles that have justified Avery's murder conviction, the USA Today network determined. For instance, Manitowoc County officials emailed Herman about a Facebook post published by Tommy Azir, alongside FBI agent from Green Bay, on social media. Azir denounced the Netflix series and even questions Avery's 2003 DNA exoneration. There you go. In 1985, Steve was arrested for an attack on Penny on the shores of Lake Michigan, just north of Two Rivers, after being convicted and locked away in prison for 18 years. Steve was freed in 2003 after DNA evidence proved that Gregory Allen was the real rapist and Avery was innocent, as he always proclaimed. There you go. Oh, look at the look in his eyes. You can tell he's guilty by the look in his eyes, can you? I'm not sure about that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I know what type of person Stephen Avery is, Azir wrote, and I know that there can never be a grand conspiracy theory. He is not this innocent person you were led to believe. I even question whether he should have been released on the DNA evidence, but that would take too long to explain. Molly Duane also wrote the sheriff, entitling her email, "Thank you." What the difference is that coming up? I have no idea what's going on there, but seems to have jammed. It was working fine for a minute. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Duane said she was an acquaintance of former Manitowoc County District Attorney Mark Rohrer, who is now a Manitowoc Circuit Court judge. Back in 2005, Rohrer was one of about 35 people, mostly county employees. 35 people were deposed in the 36 million wrongful conviction lawsuit. I am outraged by the hysteria created by the Netflix documentary over convicted killers Avery and Darcy, Duane wrote to Sheriff Herman. It is astounding how many people fail to use any critical thinking skills. Duane stated that she knew most of the people associated with the Avery investigation and prosecution. The officers involved are people I know to be ethical, honest people, Duane wrote, suggesting they would deliberately sabotage suggesting that they would deliberately sabotage a homicide investigation is ludicrous. Duane also said she doubted the sheriff had received very many positive comments since the Netflix series aired. Let's hope the uninformed people incapable of critical thinking find a new conspiracy theory soon, she stated. Thank you for all that you and your staff do. Elsewhere, Randy Sigley, Colorado, emailed Herman thanking him for a job well done. I am sure you receive a lot of emotionally charged emails about the Netflix broadcast. Keep your heads up, Sigley wrote. Let's see. Sigley wrote that he had previously been a victim of a crime, so I view the outpouring for Avery with horror. Stand strong. I can only imagine how difficult the investigation was and how closely all of you invested yourself into making sure the job was done properly. That is what Ms. Holbach deserved, and you did it. Justice was done. A California woman who said she worked as a Manitowoc County Sheriff's Office dispatch during the early 1980s also sent Herman an email of support. I am sickened to see how this entertainment piece has hurt the name of the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department. Julie Dutton wrote, what Avery did made me sick. Years later, I hear about this movie and have been outraged ever since. I'm just a former employee and it's bothering me so much. I can't even begin to imagine what you and your fine deputies are going through. I will keep all of you in my prayers. In the late December, Sheriff's Detective Remiker circulated emails to Manitowoc County's top elected officials. He wanted them to rally around the Sheriff's Department after fellow detectives Colvin and Dennis Jacobs were becoming recipients of angry voicemail messages and emails after the release of Making a Murderer. This is the most despicable, unfair, and intolerable situation I have ever witnessed, Remiker wrote. This has and will change a lot of the employees that have been targeted by these actions. Although Special Prosecutor Ken Kratz told the news media in early November 2005 that the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Office would not be investigating Avery because of a conflict of interest stemming from the $36 million lawsuit, Remiker was one of a handful of Manitowoc County detectives who continued to remain a regular presence at the salvage yard in hopes of finding evidence to tie Avery to the murder. Clearly, the story that was portrayed has damaged our reputation and the integrity of these officers for their entire career, Remiker wrote Bray. As one of the lead investigators on that case, I'm very proud of what we accomplished and completely disagree with the portrayal that is circulating everywhere. In reality, nothing can change the damage that has been done. It's a pretty helpless feeling. I can tell you there are several here that feel like they have a target on their back. If you do not believe me, take some time to read some of the hundreds of comments online. It's horrible. Remiker also sent an email to Bob Ziegelbauer, indicating, I do not know what my expectations are from individuals that represent our county, but I would hope that there will be some discussions and potentially support given to these professionals that did exactly what they should have done in some very difficult circumstances. Ziegelbauer has been county executive since 2006 and also served as state assembly. After receiving Remiker's note, the Manitowoc County politician emailed him back a 3-word reply. Hang in there. Remiker forwarded the county executive's response to fellow Sheriff's Deputy Dennis Jacobs. Look at the response I received from Bobsy. Hang in there, Remiker wrote. The best he could do is respond with 3 words. Wow. That's leadership, Jacobs wrote to Remiker. I only had to use 2 words. Oh dear, that's brilliant. Absolutely farcical, obviously. You know, this bizarre case. Instead of as the people wishing that the conspiracy theorists would all disappear. No, completely.